Cheek here with another Transformers review, and today I will be reviewing the Transformers Armada Universe Starscream from Transformers Legacy. And I've been looking forward to it for so long because I've always wanted an Armada Starscream because he's one of the coolest characters ever. I know Armada is a little bit of a mess as far as like dubbing and stuff like that is concerned, but I watched it growing up as a kid. Yes, I grew up with Armada, even though it was just a little bit before my time, but it's the show I grew up with. And I loved Starscream. He was an awesome character. I've heard that there's some gripes about some of the things. Like, for the most part, he does what he's supposed to do. But there's no spot to put a mini-con in between there like Swindle. Even though, obviously, there's some spring action. They at least included it, apparently, for Hotshot. Oh, and also QR code if you want to take a look at his specs. Anyway, let's go ahead and get him opened up. So here we have him out of his packaging. He is pretty cool. Unfortunately, there are some problems. I don't know if it's necessarily just my copy or them in general. Now, in the person, I don't like having a display like this, but you can have it like that. It does give you the two options, but you can have it up like that, and then this tabs in right in the back. Anyway, but yeah, that is one way you can have it. This is one of the swords he comes with. It's supposed to be his wing sword. Unfortunately, none of the wings actually become a sword, which I guess in some ways is better. I mean, not for being accurate to the cartoon, but more of like, if you lose his sword, at least you don't lose a wing of the toy. So that's pretty cool. I do like the way he looks. He does look really cool, but he doesn't hold together the best. The biggest concern I have with him is the nose. It's like there's a little tab right here and then the slot right there. But for whatever reason, it's just very loose. Like you can see it when it pegs in, tabs in, but it just doesn't really stay. It's just so loose. Everything else seems pretty tight, except for these leg fillers, which, but to be fair, they do tab into place relatively well in vehicle mode, so it's not really an issue considering that they stay in place in robot mode as well. But I think mine also had a mistake done on it. The piece that the wings actually attached to, I think, has two of the left side on it rather than a left and a right. That, at least that's my guess, because this wing, it doesn't, in robot mode it's not as noticeable, but if you look at it, this will not go backwards, whereas this one will fold back, but this one won't. And if you had it on the other way, yes, it would fold backwards, but then you can't transform him into jet mode. So yeah, before I first started transforming him, I could not get it to go into place because it physically was not lining up right. And I think, like I said, it's because they included two of the same side rather than just one of each like it should have been. But quality control, yes, but design wise, I think the toy design is fairly good. It's just my copy just isn't the greatest, unfortunately. So yeah, the sword, like I said, it's just a piece of plastic. It's gray. The Star Saber, although small, is quite detailed. Like, you can see the shape and design of the mini cons that form the Star Saber, which is really cool. I love that they did that. Unfortunately, like I said, it is really small. Like, really small. I mean, it's still a cool sword. It's just smaller than the Star Saber should be, but considering the size of the port and all that, you could, if I had it, you could give him the Star Saber, which would be really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There is one more thing you can do in robot mode. You can flip those shoulder cannons out, which is really cool. And I love the fact that they did fill the gaps. That is really nice. That's something that Hasbro hasn't had the best history of doing. So like I said, the character design, I think toy design is really good. I just don't think it was, I just think my copy might be just one of the worst ones, but we'll see. I might get another one. And for comparison real quick, let's go ahead and bring in Hotshot. I think these two characters are relatively to scale, at least in their robot modes. Obviously in their vehicle modes, Hotshot is going to probably be way out of scale, as in he's going to be too big. But I think in robot mode, I think they're about right. Yeah, and Star Saber in Hotshot does look a lot better, but it still does feel a little bit small, but just not as small as when Starscream's holding it. So yeah, that's about it. Let's go ahead and move Hotshot off to the side. Okay. I didn't do articulation yet, so and detail, but yeah, his face. I love the face sculpt. He does have that kind of stoic face. Doesn't really look angry or anything, but very reminiscent of G1, but also new in its own way. Well, not new, but Armada. But it's so lovely. Absolutely love that head sculpt. You can look down a bit. You can look up like a lot. But with his with the jet intakes, it's a little hard for you to get any really looking side to the side, and wibbly wobbly, pretty much nothing. At least nothing that you can keep in place. Okay, and then arms can go out that far. There is a bicep swivel, double hinge at the elbow, but that's also probably for transformation, but over 90-degree bend there. No wrist rotation. There is technically a hip rotation, but due to a giant nose cone, crotch and all that, you can't really do that. But yeah, there is hip rotation, and he can, if it wasn't for his the nose of the jet mode, he would do the full splits, thigh rotation, although if you're not careful, you could potentially spin it off, because that one of them did pop off, but for the most part they're pretty good about staying on. Knee, over 90-degree bend there, a little bit bend at the foot, and you do get a little bit of ankle tiltage. So yeah, he's decently articulated, but like I said, he does have some problems, and I guess let's go ahead and get down to transformation. So first thing I guess we can do is go ahead and flip his hands in, flip in, and then just kind of wanting to then just get everything well extended out, and then you just get his head down and then press up on that to get the problem is that it is kind of finicky to get to stay exactly right in place, and I feel like it feels like he's doing like a little bit of a Megatron thing where his head is somewhat visible. It's not horribly visible, but it's visible enough. And then you slide off to the side, line up the wings, and before we put the arms quite in their position, go ahead and close up the feet, press like that, flip out these two panels. It's funny, what's interesting is they do flip on the same, but since they do go on opposite sides, you also get his legs and his feet, toes go in there, which is pretty cool. I like the way they did that. The only problem with them being so loose is that sometimes they'll flip back into place. And then just close that up. And then these two pieces tab together. They don't tab together super strong, but well enough, I suppose. Then you just press everything together, like that, and then just collapse his arms. Of course, the nose isn't necessarily going to cooperate. You straighten these out because they're pressed up to the chest, and then this is where you'll see the problem. At least it's not completely getting in the way in this way, because I did have to mess around with it to get to work at all for jet mode, but as you can see, it does sit up pretty high, but if you have it tilted down ever so slightly and press, it's not as noticeable, but it's still there, especially if you kind of get this all straightened out. And this is supposed to, looks like this is supposed to tab into the wing, but it cannot. It does on this side. Works quite well. But if you look, it's just that this wing is sitting higher than it's supposed to. And it's very frustrating. Like I said, I do believe it's because they put the same side on this side, and it's just not working. It's just not working, and it's very disappointing. So I don't know if I'm at the point where I want to return this to try to get another one that's better. I might do that, but then again, part of me also is just like, why go to the trouble to do that? Maybe just get another one later down the line. But yeah, but other than that, it is cool. It's definitely Armada Starscream. I really like it, other than, like I said, those obvious issues. And then you can also, of course, flip these out in jet mode. And then you can also store his swords, or the sword, and come on, hotshot, relinquish it, under his wings, like so. It's a thing you can do. Honestly, I'd rather them not even have the pegs and just be like, yeah, just G1 it. Don't have weapon storage if it makes the weapons look better. Well, it looks kind of weird having a jet facing, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's about it for that. And like I said, way out of scale in car mode compared to his jet mode. Like, one little person sits in there, and two people sit in here. Yeah. Definitely, unless he's supposed to be a giant car or a very small jet. But yeah. Yeah, but well, I guess I should have put the engine gun on. There we are. But yeah, but it is nice that they're revisiting Armada. Don't know if they'll revisit Energon very much. They might not. I think that might be a mistake, because that was kind of, I mean, the toys were kind of cool, but the story was pretty bad. But yeah, that's about it for Transformers Legacy Evolution Armada Universe Starscream. And if you like this review and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more. And until next time, have a good one, everyone.